What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Randy here with RTS Mobile Gaming, bringing you an absolutely amazing video today. We are here playing the Lord of the Rings Rise to War, and in today's video, we have just finished leveling up Cestaro. We are going to be doing some stress testing with Cestaro right now in this video, so get excited. I just got him to level 48. I've got some Evil Men comps on him, pretty typical compared to what I usually run with like Shadow or another commander damage from the Ring Wraiths. Pretty typical here. The build that I'm running is a high focus damage build. There really isn't a lot of good weapons for Cestaro that are at the purple level because he doesn't need might, he just needs focus. And he doesn't trigger on hit attacks like Smite since he loses his auto attack for his Respect 5 title tree. But the Carver is going to be decent for some might and some attack from my Evil Men. Chest piece, might, focus, and defense with some reduced damage from my Evil Men. Cask of the Submerged Isle, this one's interesting. There are some other helmets which will also be pretty strong here, but this has focus and 12% bonus damage for the first 4 rounds. And then we have the Bone Talisman, which is plus 30 focus and 9% damage from my Evil Men. Okay? Build-wise, what we're running here is the Respect 0 tree for Spellseeker, 29 out of 29. I'm going to get 75 focus from this. I'm going to get some anti-heal and some damage nukes from the Plague. I'm going to get some healing and some damage nukes from Soul Siphon. Then we'll drop up to the R5 tree and get Lord of the West. So you can run this build maxed out at Respect level 5. I'm currently Respect level 6, so you can run this build, okay? Lord of the West, this changes his auto attack into a focus damage trigger. And then we've got Boggle, which is a nice focus damage nuke, which increases the damage received. And then we have Dreadful Presence, which is a decent nuke, but it drastically reduces enemy damage output. So what you probably noticed here is all of these abilities trigger in round 2, trigger on a 2-round cooldown, which means in rounds 3, 6, and 9, Cestaro is going to be dropping heavy nukes. Okay, so that's what we're going to look for in this stress test. We're going to be hitting this 260 power tile. I don't know what's there. We're going to find out. If I'm fighting against a target that only has 1 unit in the army, it is going to drastically reduce Cestaro's damage since all of his abilities are area of effect abilities, right? Every single one of these abilities attacks either 2 or 3 targets. So if I'm only fighting 1 target, I'll drastically reduce my damage output, okay? So that's it. Massive AoE potential damage from Cestaro in rounds 3, 6, and 9 with relatively low sustained damage on the rounds in between, okay? Sounds a lot like the Linden Tier 4 units. Although I think they're what do they hit on round 1, 4? I don't know. I don't remember. Okay, we have a draw here. It looks like we did pull a draw. Okay, just like I feared. Oh, ooh, PvP. Just like I feared, I ran into a single stack target, guys. Still pretty good damage for a single stack target, though. Check this out. 92,000 damage from the commander against 1 target. Let's see how that actually played out. Unit-wise, the Halberdiers, because they get 9% damage from my accessory, and then plus 3 attack from the weapon, they're going to deal decent damage. They just don't have inherent damage bonuses from Cestaro. So let's take a quick look at this report itself. I'm going to pull Cestaro back so I don't lose the rest of my troops. We'll do some more PvP testing with him as well coming up real soon. I just wanted to stress test him on a 260 before I did anything else. I like to really see some of the weaknesses in the build before I go into PvP. All right, so here we go into round 1, ladies and gentlemen. The Corsairs getting absolutely eviscerated by the Marshals. Oh my goodness. They just deal so much damage. Marshals are very strong units for sure. Very strong units that Rohan has. Here is Cestaro's auto attack transferred to Lord of the West, which is the R5 tree, hitting for 5,000 damage. Very nice to see that coming out there. And again, you're not going to really see any other damage until round 3 from Cestaro. Halberdier is still getting worked up by these Marshals. Here's another Lord of the West. The damage has slightly reduced because I've lost some units and my overall command value has reduced. Okay. Going into round 3, now we should see Cestaro's nukes coming in hot and heavy. Get excited for that. We have lost a good 15 or so commands, so my damage is going to be significantly impacted. There's the Lord of the West hit, so down from the 5,100 damage in round 1 to 4,500, I've already lost about 10 to 12% damage output, okay? Here's the Boggle, hitting one single target. Again, keep in mind all of these values will be multiplied against multiple targets. Boggle has increased the damage that I deal by 40% on the next hit. So I've got Boggle for 62. Then I have Plague for 4283. Then I have Dreadful Presence for 4408. So maybe I should switch up my skills. This is good. I'm doing this for a reason, right? We're doing this order for a reason. So what I've determined in this limited testing is I don't actually want to put skill points into Boggle and then Plague. I want to put skill points into Boggle and then Dreadful Presence, because it appears that Dreadful Presence scales much stronger with my focus. That's an important point to make, okay? Because all of these skills scale completely differently with the different stats that affect them. So Dreadful Presence, you can see here, even though it only says 96% focus damage against 3 targets, it does say the effect is modified by the focus stat. What does the Plague say? The Plague is a flat 260% poison damage to 2 targets, but it doesn't scale as effectively with the focus damage. So, for example, if we're talking about just like the Shadow, who also has the Plague ability, okay? The Shadow, he only scales at about 14 damage points per focus in the Plague for added focus, okay? And that number is affected by about 15,000 things, and it's really anywhere from 10 to 14. We know that's the scaling on Plague, whereas the scaling on Dreadful Presence appears to be significantly more desirable. So I'll do further testing on my end, but what we're going to do in the short term is we're going to switch our skills from... What I did is I selected Boggle first, then I selected Plague, because I thought Plague would be a bigger nuker. But now I'm going to select Boggle first, and then I will select Dreadful Presence. Once I select Dreadful Presence, I'll drop down to Plague and Soul Siphon, okay? Oh. Almost time for some more coffee. All right, back into this report. Let's just finish up. Let's see what happens in round 6. Well, in here in round 3, let's see how much damage we just did in total. Okay, my total damage output from this guy in round 3 is we've got about 45 here, right? Plus 6,200, plus 4,300, right? And then we've got an additional impact of 4,400 from Dreadful Presence, right? Plus another 3,300. So we've done a total of about 23,000 damage, guys, over the course of this round 3 against one single target. So I think it's easy to extrapolate that and say that we could deal at least 45,000 damage against 2 targets and against 3 targets. Since some of the abilities only hit 2, I would say that maybe we're close to anywhere from 45 to 55,000 damage output with 3 targets on the field. That's pretty good nukes from rounds 3, 6, and 9. And that's consistent with some of the testing that I saw from my good friend Baller, who I did a Cestaro video on back when Cestaro first came out a few weeks ago. So this is the build, guys. Very, very interesting. You now know what I'm going to change before I go into PvP. I'll do some PvP testing with him coming up real soon. Thank you for watching. Love you all. Long time. Cestaro, ladies and gentlemen. Randy out.